But her husband was a man of the world. He grew restless with quiet village life. He started spending more and more time away, attending parties in the city and mingling with high society. When he did return, he paid little attention to Maria, saving his affection only for their sons. One fateful day, Maria was walking with her 2 children along the riverbank when she saw her husband's fancy carriage approaching. But he wasn't alone. Beside him sat another woman, younger, more elegant, and clearly from a wealthy family. He smiled at his sons and waved, but completely ignored Maria as if she were invisible. In that moment, something inside Maria shattered. The love she once felt curdled into a toxic mix of jealousy, rage, and profound despair. All her dreams had turned to dust, replaced by the bitter reality of his betrayal. Her mind, clouded by an unbearable storm of emotion, became a dark and dangerous place. She looked at her sons, the very children her husband once cherished but now saw as a tie to a life he was leaving behind. In a horrifying act of madness and revenge, she grabbed her 2 little boys and, one by one, threw them into the rushing river. As the current swept them away, the fog of her rage began to clear. The reality of what she had done crashed down on her with the force of a tidal wave. A scream tore from her throat, a sound of pure, unadulterated agony and horror. It was a scream so powerful, so filled with anguish that legend says all of nature fell silent. The birds stopped singing, the wind ceased its whisper, and the river itself seemed to hold its breath. Realizing her children were gone forever, lost to the watery grave she had created, she ran frantically along the riverbank, her hands outstretched, crying their names into the uncaring night. "Hey, Miss Hee-Hoes! Hey, Miss Hee-Hoes! Oh, my children! Oh, my children!" Consumed by a guilt too heavy for any mortal soul to bear, she waded into the same river and let the dark waters claim her too. But death offered no peace, no escape. When Maria arrived at the gates of the afterlife, she was stopped. The spirits there asked her a simple, terrifying question. "Where are your children?" She could not answer. She was denied entry, cursed to wander the earth, trapped between the world of the living and the world of the dead, until she could find the souls of her drowned sons. And so, her eternal penance began. She became La Llorona, the weeping woman. Now she haunts the waterways of the world, forever searching. Those who have claimed to see her describe a terrifying apparition. She appears as a tall, slender figure dressed in a flowing white gown, like a ghostly bride. Her face is always hidden, either by a veil or by her long, dark, perpetually wet hair that clings to her like seaweed. She glides along the riverbanks, her bare feet never quite touching the ground, as if she's hovering just above the earth. Her presence is always announced by the sound that gave her her name, a mournful, heart-wrenching wail that drifts on the night air. The cry of "Hey, Miss Hee-Hoes" is a warning, a lament that has echoed through centuries. The stories of encounters with La Llorona are numerous and varied, each more chilling than the last. Some say that if you hear her crying, it's already too late. The sound itself has a paralyzing effect. It can root you to the spot, steal the air from your lungs, and leave you frozen in terror as her ghostly form drifts closer and closer. Fishermen and late-night travelers have reported seeing her figure standing on the water's surface, her back to them, her shoulders shaking with sobs. To look upon her face, they say, is to see the face of madness and death itself, an image so horrific it can drive a person insane or cause their heart to stop. But perhaps the most frightening aspect of her legend is her tragic confusion. In her endless, grief-stricken search, her spirit has become twisted. She is said to mistake living children for her own lost sons. Parents in many communities, especially in Mexico and the American Southwest, have used her story for generations as a cautionary tale to keep their children from wandering off alone, particularly after dark. "Don't go near the river," they warn, "or La Llorona will get you. They say if she finds a child wandering near the water's edge, she will snatch them up, and in her deluded state, believe she has finally found her own. But upon realizing her mistake, she drowns them in the river out of a fresh wave of rage and despair, repeating her horrific crime over and over again. The child is never seen again, becoming another one of her spectral victims. Some versions of the tale are even darker. They claim she doesn't just target children. Any lone traveler, man or woman, who happens to cross her path at night is at risk. She might appear before them on a dark road, asking for a ride or for help finding her children. Those who are foolish enough to engage with her are lured towards the nearest body of water. Her touch is said to be ice cold, and her grip impossibly strong. She drags them into the murky depths, their screams muffled by the water, their bodies never to be recovered. Her weeping is not just a sign of sorrow. It's a siren's call, a lure for the unsuspecting. There's a strange duality to her legend. In some interpretations, she is a figure of pity, a mother trapped in an eternal loop of grief, forever paying for a moment of madness.